Okay, so they may have suspended the live. That's totally fine, right? But I'm gonna keep going. Today's the last day for this shit, and I'm gonna say every fucking thing I want to say. I don't give a fuck, okay? 1 second. What I was trying to explain on that live was that despite whatever these people may say that sounds good, right? When they're supposed to be talking about everything they know about psychology and child victimization, it's not true, okay? They're speaking about shit and they're talking about stuff they don't know. When I was victimized, right? I knew that this person was not supposed to be doing anything like this to me. But because they were physically stronger than me, there was nothing I could do but sit there and go through all types of levels of rage. Do you hear me? Not defeat, not victimization, not feeling sorry for myself, but rage. I wanted to kill that motherfucker. You understand me? 13 years old, and I wanted to rip his fucking head off of his body. With every fucking thrust, I envisioned stabbing this motherfucker more than 100 times all over his face and neck. That's what I thought as I was enduring that. And when it was over, I didn't run and hide and cower. I told him, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna fucking kill you. And he laughed and pushed me and threw me over into the other side of the room. And as a little girl, I could do nothing but fly all across the room and fall all over the floor. But I balled my fists up and I said, I'm going to fuck you up. I'm going to fucking kill you. And I meant it. And fast forward to let you know, when I was 17, my brother and I jumped that motherfucker and beat his motherfucking ass with a pipe. I literally tried to kill that motherfucker. Got arrested and everything, and I didn't give a fuck. My mother pressed charges against me. How about that? So when you guys are up here talking about how every victim is the same and we all go through a type of fucking dissociation and all this, that's bullshit, okay? We don't go through none of that. Well, at least I didn't. Because there's another type of victim out there. The ones like me. That breed nothing but hate and anger and rage. And we don't feel sorry for ourselves. The only thing we feel is, as soon as I can, I'm going to fuck your ass up. And if I can, I'm going to kill you. That's what we feel. And we live it out. So when I was trying to explain that, I was shut down. I was literally told, you know, I'm upset. You know, all of the regular gaslighting bullshit that they do with black women when they don't really care about what the fuck you have experienced, what you've gone through, or where you've come from in all the things in your life that have literally hurt you. They don't give a fuck about that. All they care about is trying to be right, trying to prove what their version of you is who you actually are. And I'm here to say, no, it doesn't fucking work that way. It literally doesn't. It does not fucking work that way. Sorry. Right? So I couldn't get that off. So I said, well, today is the last day of TikTok. I'll say what the fuck I want, how I want, whenever I want. And if you take the video down, you fucking take it down. I'll put another one up. Because you got to start looking at the psychology behind what is going on with these women and children when they're being violated. And when they are being traumatized repeatedly through sexual exploitation. This is the thing that everybody's forgetting. That all these people are victims. And when you are a victim, you don't operate out of your right mind. You don't. You operate out of necessity. When I say necessity, like, we don't know how anybody's living when they're being preyed upon. We don't know if they have a job and whether or not they're able to put a roof over their own heads. We don't know none of that shit. Like in my case, that happened to me, but the police were called. I was put into them bullshit therapy courses. My mother received what did they call it then? They called it prevention services, right? She got prevention services. She also got family therapy. What else did she get? We got a caseworker. My mother got a psychiatrist. My mother got her medication reevaluated. All that shit plays into why people allow things to happen to children. And I'm going to say it again for the slow motherfuckers in the back. None of what I'm saying means that I'm making excuses for these women who allow shit to happen to their children. What I'm trying to get you to understand is that a lot of these women are those little girls who have been molested and preyed upon and exploited when they were children too. Okay? And now they're adult, wounded children having children. That's what the fuck I'm trying to get across to y'all. And just because a book says that we're supposed to respond by dissociation and we supposed to like want to leave our bodies when somebody's fucking penetrating us, that's not always the case. A lot of us are as strong as me and stronger, who will actually fight through the whole thing, be completely aware and living in real time, and just deal with it and plan and plot to get straight revenge. That's a lot of us out here. And a lot of us are not affected. When I say affected, like a lot of us are not functionally fucking depressed. We're not broken people to the point where we can't have relationships with people we care about and who care about us, or have healthy children and not allow that shit to happen to our kids, because I've done it. Like when I got married, and believe me, being a person who suffered that type of torture, that type of violation as a teenage girl, a pubescent is what I'm actually called, right? At 13. I was able to compartmentalize the fact that I'm a child. I know I'm a child. This is a grown fucking adult who is not acting the way an adult should act. And I knew something was wrong with this person, even though I did not have all of the philosophical or psychological words to put it together. I knew this person was fucked up beyond repair. And I didn't take the human stain of that situation. I said, no, I'm the child in this situation. This person is the offender. And that is what got me through. Not everybody has the ability to do that. But you know what I did notice? No matter how the victims handled their violation, people didn't give a fuck about what they really experienced. And they didn't give a fuck about their recovery either. While I sat in that room, a 13-year-old girl with other little black girls, some as young as 4 years old, okay? Because we're all minors. So in the room was infants up to 17 years old. Because in America, you're still a minor at 17. And you cannot give consent legally, right? To sex. So anyway, as I sat in that room with all those other little girls that experienced the same thing I did, I saw that when they spoke, people cut them off. People didn't care to let them to really express or finish their sentence or their statement about what they experienced and how they felt. At 13, I sat there and I looked at it. I looked at how the counselor or the therapist, whichever one, because we had all of them, would take a phone call in between one of the little girls' testimonials, would stop to check her watch. All types of disrespectful shit like that, to literally let you know that they didn't really give a fuck about what you was talking about. And then they even had the fucking audacity to bring race into the therapy sessions, where they tried to make it seem like us as little black girls were more prone to sexual behavior or sexual fastness or promiscuism, or being promiscuous, however the fuck you say the word, right? Than other people, due to our history of being enslaved. They literally talked about this. This is all this shit in the background you motherfuckers don't know nothing about, and that you always fucking jaw-jacking about and never stop to listen to what actually happens, okay? So, I tell you all that, right? To let you know that when you do see or hear these stories about these women, stop judging. Now, it is right for y'all to call for everybody to be held accountable. The mothers, the aunts, the grandmothers, all of them. Because you know what? Despite them being functionally broken, right? And them not wanting to stand up to their monster, right? That's what I've always called those dudes ever since a little girl, is my monster. Because they terrorize me and have terrorized me. Not just physically, but mentally, right? So, like a little kid, you would literally have to get to the point where you decide, oh, I'm going to stand up against this monster, or I'm not. And when you're looking at those women, I want you to understand that that is what they've decided not to do. They've decided that they're not going to stand up to the dude that is causing them and their children harm. Because they're afraid. Very afraid. Because the thing that people leave out when they're having these discussions is that you guys don't understand the violence that comes with being a sexually exploited little girl or adult woman. I put up a video of a newspaper article on my YouTube the other day. It had almost 100 reasons of why these dudes sexually exploit women and girls, and their thirst and the thrill of having control over women and girls. So, when you read that list, pause the video to read every reason they gave on the list. I think y'all will better understand, if you truly are these enlightened people that you claim to be, right? You'll begin to understand that it is more of a psychological fucking thing and kind of a psychological prison that those women and children are living in, more so versus the clarity and the ability of these people to actually exercise the thought process of right and wrong and doing what a reasonable fucking person would do in that situation to put the situation to an end. That's what I really want y'all to understand. I swear to God. I don't get triggered a lot by conversations about that shit because I have, not through the help of therapy, but through the help of reading psychology books on my own and actually processing my own feelings over time. And I'm over 50, right? Can I sit here and honestly tell you that that experience has actually left my person? No, it hasn't. But I tell you what, I no longer allow that shit to victimize me anymore. I control it. I will decide whether or not it makes me upset or it's just another memory where I say, that's just part of all of the fucked up shit that happened to me when I was a little girl. That does not make me who I am. And it damn sure is not going to dictate who the fuck I'm going to be. And what I stand for and who I become. You understand what I'm saying? And those are some of the things that I want y'all to really think about. Because it's not, what I'm trying to say to you, it is not enough to just sit here and fucking Monday morning quarterback the actions of a person that didn't do what you think they should have done. As black women, we got to go deeper than that. We got to go deep into the actual psychology of black women and black women alone. And understand that we are and this is, get ready for this word, right? Because I learned this through therapy, right? We are a polymorphic, traumatized, indoctrinated group of women. And the way that we still are able to find resilience in living after all the stuff that's done to us, is nothing short of fucking amazing. Do y'all hear me? Just today, those people on Christina's panel literally tried to insult the fuck out of me, make fun of me, because I did not agree with what that gay dude was saying about experiences of children or people who are violated, because I'm assuming he was hung up on his own experience or what he believes, because he's a dude, is supposed to be the absolute fundamental truth. His truth is not mine. It's not mine. And even though he contradicted himself because he tried to come after somebody that pointed out his bullshit in the comments, all he did was backpedal on bullshit. And this is what I'm asking you as black women not to do. Don't backpedal. Please don't backpedal on the bullshit that is always done to black women. We are always given the who gives a fuck about you, or I don't really care, so what, that happened to you type attitude, especially from our own women. I expect it from niggas. I expect it from them motherfuckers, because they're the ones committing the violations. But what I don't accept is from other black women who don't give a fuck about my pain, don't give a fuck about my journey, don't even give a fuck about learning from somebody who's actually lived the shit they talking shit about. It's crazy. It's like, I can tell you the ins and outs of what the fuck is happening mentally, physically, spiritually, sensationally. I can tell you, because I'm fucking living it. And yet you think that you know better. You're going to talk to me about what I've experienced and what other people have experienced, because you feel so fucking self-righteous that because you study the fucking white man's book, you know more about me than I know about myself or any other victim. No, the fuck you don't. And you need to stop assimilating into this fucking country and start acculturating. Now, I definitely know they have changed the definitions of both those words to make it easier. But when you acculturate into America, that means that you see your culture and those that look like you as being as important, if not more important, than the so-called dominating culture. Within acculturation, you believe, and this is the only way I survived, you believe that your culture, you and those that represent you, are the best fucking thing alive. The best fucking thing alive. More beautiful, more great than anything else that's living. You have to, in order to survive. And that is called ethnocentricity. Look that up. That is what acculturation means. That you believe in ethnocentricity within you, your kind, and yourself. And if I did not have that understanding about self through the wonderful teachers and the vast knowledge of information I was literally exposed to from social studies and global history, from kindergarten all the way up to the 6th grade when I was violated, I probably would have been one of those victims y'all talk about. But I am again giving you another side of the coin that no one knows about, because they can't talk about shit they haven't lived. And they definitely can't talk about shit they haven't studied. Wink fucking wink. They don't give a fuck. So they only go by what little white girls and white women experience. They don't have no study sessions or groups or any fucking studies on what black women go through, how they rebound from it, how they regroup, how they deal with it, what coping skills we develop. They don't do that. So a lot of the shit they talk about, when they speak about how the victim is supposed to respond, how we deal with it, that shit don't normally apply to us. Nope. Because we are polymorphically traumatized people. So trauma kind of like becomes second nature to us. And we do get fucking desensitized to a lot of shit. We do. And there are a lot of little black girls that can lay there and just stare at the wall and make what's happening to them disappear. But that ain't dissociation. That's not. That's escapism. Because you still feel what's going on. And it doesn't matter if you close your eyes, or if you bite your lip, or you clench your fucking fist the way I did, and you fight with all your might, and you never stop. Even though everything you doing is not getting you nowhere. It is the fact that no one ever talks about. You never gave up. And you were never dominated, even though you were taken. They never, never, never give you your fucking credit for that. They always try to reduce you to being bested or being a fucking victim of circumstance. And that's the fucking thing I'm trying to tell y'all. You have got to stop fucking buying into. We are fucking warriors even when we lose. Because we're not trying to be in that position. And we doing every fucking thing to get out of it. When we don't get out of it, we don't stop. We don't fucking give up and surrender to what is happening. We mentally fight when we can't physically. And that ain't dissociation. That's resilience. The worst part about all of this is the physical shit you can recover from, even a lot of the psychological shit. But the bad mouthing, the shaming, the total fucking disregard and the dismissal of my blackness, my black womanhood, my black little girlhood, my black supposed sisterhood and association and connection to other black women who's supposed to look at me and say, I feel your pain. I understand that shit, sister. You don't get that. You get, she was fast. She knew what she was doing. Or I get the fucking giggles that panel gave me and laughing and trying to dismiss my fucking existence because, oh, this is just some black bitch we don't give a fuck about who's trying to talk, but we won't let her talk. We're going to talk over her. And we're going to tell her what she experienced, and we're going to tell her what she's supposed to be. This is what all you motherfuckers do all the time to those victims. And you do it especially to them when they dead. A fiery motherfucker like me, you can't do that to me, not standing in front of me, because I will let your ass have it. But for the little girls in the church who were made to stand in front of the fucking congregation and apologize for being pregnant when they didn't get that way by themselves. For the little girls who are forced into pregnancy and then murdered by somebody trying to give them an at-home abortion. For the little girls that are pulled into abandoned buildings, or some creep comes into their bedroom at night, or waits outside the junior high school or the high school in their car for them to jump in. Or they have something thrown over their head and they're snatched into a van and never seen again and sold into sexual slavery. Those are all the little girls that y'all don't give the benefit of doubt. But you give all that fucking apathy and stereotypical black women hate bashing bullshit that you have been indoctrinated into by white America, black males, the fucking church, your fairy tales, your stereotypes of the ghetto, the forced prostitution of the 1920s to the early 60s of black women by black males and white males, right? The cultural traditions of prostitution that we fucking champion this day. Like the women I come from in Louisiana, where Mardi Gras is an extenuating factor of prostitution. from the late 1700s when the pirates owned Louisiana, or was heavily influenced in Louisiana. And black women were forced to sell themselves because they couldn't make money no other way. And even though they were competing against the poor white women who had to sell themselves as well, they figured out that if they played off of the fetishes and the sick, abnormal psychology of men in general, back then specifically white men, and later on black men, and they dressed up as little girls, or the original story is they dressed up as living baby dolls. And in Louisiana, we refer to a living baby doll as mon petit, right? They got customers. And the more they looked like a baby or a child or a doll, a living doll, the more the men wanted to fornicate with them, and the more they made money. Thus which led up to the modern day tradition of the festival of Mardi Gras and all the other festivals we have of literally being born out of the sexual exploitation of black women's bodies. So when y'all are sitting there making fun of people and you just casually throwing to the side all the actual trauma and the physical fucking pain, because you do know that women don't just get raped when people are sexually violating them. They break bones. They break women's jaws. They dislocate their faces. They break their eye sockets. They do all types of things. They assault women with bottles in their vaginas, to the point where women have to have surgery because their vaginas are literally ripped apart and broken, and they are no longer able to have children, walk, and sometimes stand. These are the things you make fun of when you say the dumb shit you say, and you talk about the victim and the women that those victims come from as being people who are literally enabling, knowledgeably, willingly enabling another person to be the abnormally sick motherfucker that they are. So the next time you hear any of those stories like that, please be that bigger enlightened person that y'all pretend to be, okay? And you think about the things I told you today about the backstory of all the violence and the mental trauma and the lack of or weak ass coping skills those women have to deal with what has happened to them. And also to deal with the fact that they're not able to protect themselves, let alone the children that they have. And they're not working with a reasonable mind or a normal psychology. They're dealing with an abnormal psychology that makes allowances for the dysfunction. They're fucked up in the head. And there is no excuse for them allowing it. But I want you to understand that it's fucking deeper than just somebody saying, you know that ain't right. You should do something about that because that ain't right. Those women are fucked up. Seriously fucked up. They are detached from reality in ways you cannot even begin to imagine. Or maybe you could. If somebody's beating your ass and fucking you against your will every day, maybe you'll understand what I'm talking about. Or if somebody one day decides to take you for a few days and do unspeakable fucking things to you and don't stop, no matter how much you beg, plead, or how much they hurt you, and then they invite other fucking people to do it to you, you let me know how you would be after that shit happened to you. And then you pass judgment on somebody, okay? Y'all are the most apathetic, fucked up in the head, psychologically affected by slavery motherfuckers I've ever seen, who run around with all your self-righteous fucking talk as if you've got everything in every fucking body figured out, and you ain't got a fucking clue as to all of the abnormal fucking psychology that surrounds you day and night. And I know why that is. It's because you put dick on a pedestal and you really think that women deserve the fucked up shit that happens to them. Otherwise, I would not have been disrespected the way I was on that panel today by black women. I expect it from any black dude. I expect it from any white person, any other non-black woman. But I do not expect that shit or want to accept it from black women. If you don't feel my fucking pain, how the fuck? Y'all are bugged out. I don't expect no one else to understand what I go through, but I certainly expect somebody who is just like me to understand what the fuck I go through. But y'all never seem to, you never fail. You always blame the victim, and you always have apathy, nothing but hatred for the person who's harmed. And for the people who are suffering from Stockholm and who are suffering from fear. Fear is fucking paralyzing, y'all. Those women have been beat so bad and done so fucking vilely, sexually. They don't have no fucking fight in them for themselves, let alone children they supposed to be protecting. And once again, this is not an excuse. This is a fucking reality check for y'all. So when you talking about these women, you need to understand those women. And yeah, they should pay for what they allowed to happen. But they should also seriously be given some motherfucking help. And probably a lot of fucking medication, because their brains are literally changed due to the trauma, the sexual violence, and the physical violence. That's something else y'all need to think about and go learn about. Is that your body literally changes when you are subject to all types of horrible experiences. There are certain drugs that literally will change your mind and alter your body. Heroin is one of them. But when a person is beaten, their body changes as well, and so does their brain. There's a thing in your brain called synovial fluid. This regulates the healing and the repair of the body when it is injured. When a body is injured enough, that fluid will either cause extreme rheumatoid arthritis, or it will cause a lot of mental fucking issues. That person will have neurological damage that is undiagnosed. They will have all sorts of mental health issues that are not diagnosed. All of that comes from being beat, sexually exploited, and psychologically abused. So when you guys are talking about people, do yourself a favor and really look into the background of people before you do all that talking. And help black women and little girls out by beginning to really love each other and stop having all that hate and apathy for black women just because they black. That is something that the white people did to you psychologically that you have to work hard at undoing. Because y'all are really fucked up in the head when it comes to giving a fuck about other women. And fuck you to all those people that was on Christina's panel. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart and soul. Fuck y'all, and fuck y'all. I mean that shit.